You're listening to episode 140 of the Fitness Business Podcast. We'd like to thank this month's premier podcast partner, Precor, delivering industry-leading cardio, strength, functional training products and service to over 90 countries across the world. Hey everyone, this week I am joined by Scott Gillespie, the president of Saco Sport and Fitness. Scott and I caught up to chat about their 90-day Commit to Get Fit program, which is a comprehensive wellness program that focuses on education and behaviour modification, including things like nutrition, weight loss, individual and group exercise programs, and stress management. Scott and his team have invested a lot into perfecting this program, and during our chat, he takes us through insights into how they've made it such a great success. Let's dive straight into this week's show. Scott, thanks so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you, Chantel, for hosting me. I'm glad to be here.
Let's sort of set the scene so that everyone has a better understanding about Saco Sport and Fitness. So can you give us a bit of an overview?
Sure. We're a 25,000 square foot multi-purpose club. For our market, which is about an hour and a half north of Boston, we're a pretty large club in the state of Maine, which is demographically really sparse. In our industry, we're a medium to smaller size club. We offer 75 group exercise classes. Tribe team training is our small group training product. We have daycare, kids club, outdoor pool, basketball court, 3 group exercise studios, a large fitness floor, cafe lounge. And we've been in business now 25 years.
Fabulous. And I might be a little bit biased, but great choice of small group training solution, by the way.
Thank you. We've only had it 4 months. I'm sorry. We launched it in exactly November of last year, so 12 months now, and the program is growing rapidly.
I am thrilled to hear that. That is brilliant. Now, Scott, I asked you, to tell me a little bit about the business and what it was, or what are some of the things that you do within the business that are quite unique. And one of the things that came up was the 90-day Commit to Get Fit challenge or program. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that program?
Yeah, and I think I'd like to start by giving the background as to why we chose to launch it. I was fortunate enough to serve on the IHRSA board of directors, where some of the data that we would see about club operations as a whole, as an industry, really led me to believe that we're not serving many of our members as well as we could. And we look at retention and the results people get, and it really became clear that I think we could do a better job helping people achieve the results they want. And through exercise alone, and in many cases, self-service exercise in our clubs through access to all the wonderful equipment we offer, we really went on a quest to do more. And certainly that leads to personal training, it leads to small group training, and it leads to group exercise. But for us, we wanted to go even farther and down a wellness road and add a nutritional component. So we created about 5 years ago a program called the Momentum Program. And what it really was taking our four or five of our trainers who also had nutrition backgrounds and combining nutrition and stress management and exercise instruction and adoption to a program, and sold it as a program instead of selling personal training, which has potentially a no end point. We found that members received that really well. They liked the combination of nutrition and exercise. They liked that it was for 90 days. It seemed to be long enough to see really measurable results, yet short enough that it wasn't too intimidating to enter into. And we sold that program for almost $300 a month and would sell a dozen or so a month, and it was growing rapidly. And then a couple of years, 2-3 years ago, I was approached by Rick Caro and another gentleman named Mike Benton about a company that was growing pretty rapidly called Genevex. And Genevex had created a wellness program that was class-based, not one-on-one based. And the class is 13 weeks long. It meets 1 time a week for 2 hours. It's got a very strict curriculum that was put together by registered dietitians that is predominantly nutritionally based, but also has behavioral change skills that we teach as part of the program, exercise adoption skills, and stress management. So it truly is a turnkey wellness program. And the second hour of class after they have met in a classroom setting is a group exercise experience. A unique thing that happens in this class is before it starts and after it ends, all of the participants have a health risk assessment, including blood work. So we are now a licensed laboratory, and we do blood work, and we do full cholesterol workups and fasting blood glucose to go along with BMI and body composition and blood pressure and heart rate response to exercise that we'd always done. And so now we get a real clear picture after 90 days how these participants have evolved and achieved many of their goals and seen great results. So we're thrilled with this program.
Scott, a couple of quick questions for you. How many times is that blood work done throughout the 13 weeks?
Just twice, once before the program starts and once at the end.
And who within the business does that for you?
Great question. So when we went down this road, it was a bit intimidating for us. What we found is the training and licensing program really is not as hard as we thought it would be. So we put half of our personal training team through that program, as well as our registered dietitians and wellness coaches that were doing the class. So on staff right now, we have about 8 different people who can do those tests.
Really? That's fascinating, because I think you're right. I think that is an area where a lot of owners would probably be a little bit nervous to go down that path. So you're saying it's not as difficult as one might think.
No, it's not. Certainly it caused us to think and make some serious strategic decisions. Is this a road we wanted to go down? And we decided that it's a funny phrase. What's the definition of insanity? Continuing to do the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And we said, if we want to see dramatically different results, well, then we should do some things dramatically differently. So we chose to take the leap.
Now, I think it's really interesting that you were saying it's 2 hours per week that the participants get together. So the first hour is like the class and the second hour is the group exercise class. Outside of that 2 hours a week, are there any other activities, or how do you keep them engaged outside that 2 hours per week?
A wonderful question. And we find that different participants in the program are engaged at many different levels. The intent is to keep them fully engaged in the club. So we offer opportunities for them to meet with personal trainers at the beginning of their program if they wish, and about 75% go ahead and do that. We also have them meet one-on-one with our registered dietitians, and in many cases that evolves to more meetings with the dietitians in the club. We also, our program coordinators, when these people start, will walk through all of our group exercise options and choose the classes that are more appropriate for these folks and create, in essence, an exercise program that is group exercise based. So we give them full access to the club. Most utilize it, but we found that if we push too hard too early, that it scares many people away. And the reason they enjoy this program as an alternative to joining a membership at a club is it is supportive through the group. It does offer the education in the classroom setting, and it eases them in over this 90-day period to become very comfortable in the club, so that when the program is over, they are onboarded appropriately and feel comfortable being members of the club.
Now, Scott, you mentioned in there about the dietitians, and we touched on it earlier. So tell us about the involvement of dietitians in your business. Are they employees or are they contractors, and how are they involved, in the program and in the club?
Yeah, so our dietitians are employees. The evolution of them in our club started with personal trainers who were acting as nutritionists. And I know in different countries there are different standards and scopes of care. In the U.S., there's a very big difference between a dietitian, which is a licensed medical professional who can bill insurance for their counseling services, and a nutritionist, which is governed on a state-by-state basis. So, for example, in the state of Maine, Chantal, you and I are both nutritionists. Mm-hmm. In fact, anybody can be a nutritionist, state of Maine. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't some very good nutritionists out there, but there is no standard for them to meet. So we decided to go down the road of the highest standard possible and to employ registered dietitians, first because of the quality of counseling they can offer, But more importantly, we're finding, because having gone through the process of applying to and being accepted as a preferred provider for the major insurance companies of the state, we are now able to bill our members' insurance companies for most of the dietitian counseling they're receiving. So they're getting the best counseling possible with no out-of-pocket costs. And as you can imagine, that pretty dramatically increases the volume of people who want that service.
That's incredible. And I want to talk to you a bit more about that cost, because I think, given this is a 90-day program, it's obviously a long period of time. So can you give us a bit of an insight into how you do the billing for the program? Is it an upfront payment? Do you direct debit? And, are your existing members paying a fee, I assume, over and above their normal membership fee? So how do you actually go about that?
Well, where we are today is very different than where we were. There's been an evolution as we've learned about billing for the dietitian services. So I'll start with how it began. It began as a roughly $600 program, which we would break up into three $200 payments over the first 3 months of people's membership at the club. That includes access to the club. As we found that we were able to bill for some of the program through the dietitians, and it's important, I think, to outline what are the dietitians billing for. And there are three main areas that dietitians can bill. The first and most prevalent in the world of dietitians is what's called medical nutrition therapy. And that's what dietitians are billing for in clinics and in hospitals, where people have a diagnosis of a disease. And one of the therapies is dietitian counseling. There are two other codes where we are doing a significant amount of work, which are preventative codes. One is a one-on-one code, and the other is a group preventative code. So for the Commit to Get Fit program, we are billing under the group preventative code, which pays, it's very different from each insurance company to another. And even within a given insurance company, they may have 3 or 4 different plans, which may pay at different levels. So the real challenge was learning which insurance companies will reimburse for group preventative care, which will reimburse for for individual preventative care, and almost all of them reimburse for medical nutritional therapy. So it's evolved to where we are now billing most of the members just for the cost of the membership, and they are getting the program through their medical billing.
That's phenomenal. Obviously you've put a lot of work into getting to that point. So I really appreciate you sharing those insights with us, Scott. Now, I'm very keen to understand how you go about promoting and advertising the challenge. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So it's multi-pronged. There is no one way. One of the insights we gained through the Momentum program was when we looked at how personal training in our industry is sold, we found that it really is a one path, or what we consider a train tracks method of sales process, where people would join a club and then they would meet with a trainer or a consultant or an assessor. They'd have a meeting, and the outcome of that meeting was an attempted onboarding of personal training. And it works very well. But when we add additional programs like the Commit to Get Fit program or the Momentum program or registered dietitian counseling, now that process becomes a little bit more complicated and sophisticated. And so I studied many sales training processes. I've acted as a sales trainer for many years and looked at other industries to how they might onboard customers when they have multiple program offerings. And we created a different sales process here that allows us to guide the new member into the correct program instead of only one program. So what we're finding now, and this is through the sales process at point of sale, and in a moment I'll talk about the other avenues, but in the sales process at point of sale, we're now guiding about 20% of new members who are coming in to join the club into a paid program. Some of those are going into personal training. Some of those are going into the Commit to Get Fit program. Some are going into the Momentum program, and some are going to dietitian counseling. We then have a second and tertiary step in the sales process, because not everybody's ready to buy a program when they come to join a club. They just wanted to join the club. And so through those secondary steps, we are now onboarding an additional 30% of new members into our various programs. So we're now putting 50% of all new members into some kind of paid program. And that's one avenue for onboarding folks. The other ways which are exciting are through the corporate market. The Affordable Care Act, like it or not, has done one thing really well. It has shared the responsibility of employee health between employer and employee. And so many employers are looking to invest dollars in preventative care to keep their staff healthy, to reduce dramatically the sick care dollars, which are very expensive for people as they have issues like heart attacks or strokes or cholesterol, hypertension issues that cost so many dollars. So we're finding that corporations are very willing to entertain investing in their employees to keep them healthy, and that has become about 30% of the draw of the Commit to Get Fit program. And the last one, of course, is members. As we advertise to members who want to increase their results and they hear about how the program works, we're onboarding a large number of people from our existing membership base.
Scott, you have such an immense amount of experience, and I can tell that you've gotten to this place because of all of those learnings that you've gained over a long period of time. So thank you so much for going into that level of detail and sharing your experience with all of the FBP family. And I have just one question that I'd love to finish up on today, and that is if you had any advice for other fitness business owners who wanted to go down the path of doing a program, whether it be a 30, 60, 90 day, whatever the case may be, what advice would you give to those people? Before we hear that advice from Scott, here's a message from one of our podcast partners.
Hi, this is Andy Pickett from Precor. We deliver premium products and industry-leading service to over 90 countries across the world. If you have a club in Europe, Middle East, or Africa, then I would love to help you with your equipment needs. You can contact me at www.precor.com or email me at andy.pickett@precor.com. That's andy.pickett@precor.com. Thank you very much.
Oh, wow. Get ready. It's a very different path than the traditional club path. It is incredibly rewarding to hear the stories of success, the life-changing evolutions that our members go through. It is worth all of the hard work. But the advice would be to be sure that you want to go down that road for the right reasons. This is not a turnkey new profit center. This requires a complete engagement of the entire leadership team and a long-term commitment to gradual growth to build this annuity and this new reputation of wellness offerings in preventative care versus strictly fitness. As more and more clubs do this, the resources to help clubs overcome the challenges that we had to learn on our own will grow and it will become easier. But more than anything, it's something the club has to want to add to its strategic menu of services and make sure that it is truly committed to it long term.
Scott, I want to thank you so much. I feel like it was absolute fate that we ran into each other at Club Industry. So I'm absolutely thrilled that you were able to come onto the show because I really feel like this topic that we've spoken about today and the information that you have shared today is something that a lot of our listeners will value. They will get a lot out of that information that you've shared. So thank you so much for taking the time and joining us today on the show.
Oh, Chantel, thank you for having me. I truly enjoyed being here.
Get ready for this week's bonus segment, your extra injection of information, education, and inspiration to strengthen your fitness business.
I'm really excited to tell you that the Fitness Business Podcast Santa Sack is now open. The online virtual Santa Sack is chock-a-block full of discounts on products and services and offers from our wonderful podcast partners and suppliers from the fitness industry across the world. You can go to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/Santa Sack to see all the great offers that are available. We're adding to it every single week, so make sure you jump on and check it out. So one more time, that is fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/Santa Sack. Last week, I had the opportunity to catch up with one of our podcast partners, Precor, to hear all about their latest news. Today, I'm joined by Dan Album, the Global Marketing Director for Precor. It is great to have you back, Dan.
Thanks, Chantel. It's great to be back with you.
Now, you're here today to give us a news update on Precor. So what's happening?
There's so much going on. one of the things that has been an important ingredient in Precor delivering an outstanding fitness experience is ease of use. And one of the ways we do that is by making it very easy for exercisers to get settled into their workouts sooner without repeated sign-ins to all the entertainment and the media they want to enjoy. Once they enter their account name and password for their personal audio and video entertainment account, they'll never have to do it again during future workouts. A single sign-on to start their workout is all they need. But there's more coming in the next few months. If you think about, Chantel, what are the key ingredients that exercisers take in, the essentials into their workout? You've got water, you've got a towel, and increasingly, it's those Bluetooth headphones. And with our Bluetooth sign-in capability, the phone that the exercisers take everywhere with them can be used to sign into their personal Priva account on the Precor touchscreen console. Or, if they prefer, exercisers can still do it manually, either through RFID recognition or a QR code. And those headphones will quickly and easily pair to the network console that they can enjoy tether-free audio through that Precor cardio equipment. But there's even more. Thinking about our operators, so important for them to make sure that all their equipment is maintained and there's no downtime that could negatively impact their member experience. We're going to be able to support that through asset management alerts, which means our customers will receive important equipment status updates wherever they receive email. Could be on the desktop, could be on their laptop, or even their phone. Our system will support multiple email addresses and will continually watch the alerts to prevent duplicate messages or any overflow of repeats. And our customers will be able to choose from an immediate alert to a weekly summary depending on their needs.
I love all of those updates, Dan. Thank you so much for sharing that exciting news with us. So is there anything else that you have to tell us?
I am so excited that we're approaching a huge milestone. Chantel, think about the world's 10 largest cities and then multiply that total population by 3. And you'd be at the total number of recorded workouts from exercisers on the Priva operating system in 6 years. That's 500 million.
That is phenomenal. Congratulations, Dan.
Thanks. It's just more validation on the value and the benefit of being able to personalize and record those workouts to help exercisers achieve all of their personal exercise and fitness goals.
Well, I've got to tell you, Precor is making an amazing impact right across the world, and we are so grateful for your support that you've given the show over these past 12 months, and thank you so much for coming on today and sharing all of that exciting news with us.
Thanks for allowing us to share all the big news.
Team Rockstar Fit is an award-winning mastermind team that helps fit pros lead happy and balanced lives. Get mentoring and support. Learn how to grow your business online with Beachbody. You can apply for a free consultation today at teamrockstarfit.com.
Precor Quickfire 5.
I was lucky enough to catch up with this week's Precor Quickfire 5 guest, Marissa Hoff, during my recent visit to the Club Industry Show. And we recorded this segment live for Facebook. So if you want to see the video version, make sure that you jump over to our Facebook page at facebook.com/fitnessbusinesspodcast and take a look. And we're live once again, and this is our last FBP Live for today, first day of Club Industry. And I'm here with Marissa Hoff. Marissa, thank you so much.
I'm so excited to be here.
I'm really excited to have you on.
Good.
So we are going to run through the Precor Quickfire 5 this afternoon. But before we do any of that, tell everyone, what are you speaking on at Club Industry?
All right, well, this afternoon I actually just finished maximizing Facebook for your facility, so that's something I already did. And then on Friday I'll be speaking about stealing studio strategies for success in your Group X program. That's a mouthful.
That's such a mouthful.
I'm glad I got that out.
You did. You'll be saying that a few times.
Yes, I was
between now and
practicing.
Friday.
Yes, exactly.
That's great. Well, I'm really excited to have you on. As I said to you earlier, I've been really looking forward to having you on the show.
I've been excited about being here.
And so let's run through your Precor Quick
Sure.
5. Okay, here we go, guys. So tell everyone, why do you do what you do?
I love the fitness industry. We are so lucky to be in an industry that helps people. And there's so much opportunity. There's so many more people that need our help, and I'm excited about that as well.
I completely agree. And what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Lead by example is something that I feel has helped me not only in leading my team and the people that work for me, but also as a mom and having 2 kids and trying to live my life as the way I'd love for them to live theirs.
That's great. And what's one personal habit that helps you become better at what you do?
Actually, about 6 months ago, I started doing hot yoga.
Oh.
And I am completely hooked. It's one of those things I've never been able to do regular yoga because I get distracted. But it's such a great stress relief sort of thing and helps me be more mindful. It's been awesome.
That's interesting. So have you found that practice helps your working life?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Just ask my boss, Chris. He's like, you need to go to hot yoga.
It's time.
Yeah.
CrossFit has that same effect on me,
Oh,
so
that's
I
nice.
understand.
Yeah.
Now, what's one book, podcast, or blog that you'd recommend and why?
Well, one that a lot of people in the fitness industry have talked about is The Fred Factor by Mark Sanborn. And I think the concept is just amazing, not only for our business, but professionally and personally. And it's such an easy read. And we give that now to all of our new staff members, and they are hooked instantly within the first chapter. And it's a great book.
Excellent. Now, you touched on this earlier and you've just presented on it, so you are fresh, but tell us, what are you going to be talking about in our main interview?
So we're going to talk about why Facebook and some things that we can do as fitness business owners to use it to our advantage in a way that helps generate leads and helps get people more involved in our fitness businesses.
Well, I think this is a topic that lots and lots of our listeners are going to enjoy. So
Great.
You guys are going to have to wait a little bit because the podcast doesn't come out just yet.
Okay.
So we'll leave you in suspense, but Marissa and I are going to go and record that now. And so listen out over the next couple of months for that interview to be released.
Awesome.
Marissa, thank you so much for joining us for the
My
Quick
pleasure.
Fire 5. Thank you so much for joining me for the Fitness Business Podcast. Before we finish off today, a quick reminder that all the resources, links, and transcript for today's show can be found at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. Thank you once again to all of our podcast partners for their support and to our foundation partner, Active Management. You can head over to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/active for a free business development ebook. That is everything for this week. I will see you next week, and remember, what you leave behind is not what's engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others.